Hello and welcome back to the Left-Handed Crochet Lady. I'm Rachel and today I'm going to show you guys how to make this beanie. Gorgeous, gorgeous beanie. I put a little tag on mine. But yeah, it's really beautiful. It has a super awesome raised stitch. So let's get started. What you're going to need today is a measuring tape of some sort, a 6.5 millimeter hook, or the hook that matches the size of yarn that you're using, but if you want it to have the same look as mine, you're gonna want to get either the same type of yarn or same weight of yarn. And then a tapestry needle, scissors, and then 2 skeins of your chosen color. Today I'm using the Big Twist Gentle. What I like about this is it's really stretchy, so like I said, if you're using a different yarn, it will turn out differently, so I would encourage you to use the same type of yarn I'm using. It's going to be in a weight 5 bulky, so not a 6, it's a 5, so it's a little bit less bulky, but it really stitches up super nice. Okay, so for your chain row, you're going to make a total of 9 inches. So the length of this should be 9 inches long. Mine measures out to 9 inches and it's 30 stitches. So this may look kind of short for a hat, but just remember that there's stretch. There's a lot of stretch in this. So it will end up being the proper length for you to have a brim. Okay? So after you've done your chain to 9 inches, so the reason it's important to measure at this point just kind of depends on like your tension, you know, the consistency of your tension all the way across. So it could be a different number of chains, but I chain 30 and that gives me 9 inches. So into the top of the third shell, so 1, 2, and then 3, you're going to do a half double crochet. And then all the way across into the rest of your stitches, you're going to do half double crochets. I'm going to put a stitch marker right there, just so I can know that that's the start, because these chain 2s, you don't want to work into those, and it's really easy to miss this last one. So I'm going to use a stitch marker to kind of show you just a little bit better. So you should end your first row with 28 stitches. And then now I'm gonna start teaching you the alpine stitch. So you're gonna chain 2. So for every row, you're gonna chain 2. You're gonna chain 2, you're gonna turn your work. Okay, so normally when you turn your work, you work like this, right? Where it's like either top to bottom or side to side. And so you're looking at your work like from front, and then the back you're not actually looking at it. So the best way that you're going to be able to see this stitch is if you turn your work towards you. Okay? So when you turn your work towards you, you can look and see these different loops that are behind the back loop. There's quite a few, actually. So I'm going to show you where this is with a needle, just so you can get it. So this is the loop. This is the loop that we're going to be working into. It's kind of like a little bit slanted. It's like a slanted loop looking thing. And it almost looks like there's a shell like right here too, when you look at it this way, right? So you want to work into this loop specifically, not this one that's more diagonal, posted down a little bit more. This one right here, okay? So all you're going to do for this stitch is you're going to yarn over to do a half double crochet. You're going to insert your hook into that third loop. It's called a third loop. This is what creates that alpine stitch. Bring that up and do your half double crochet, okay? So you have one half double crochet. And then again, as you can see how, if you watch how I'm holding my work, I'm holding it to the side. So my shells that normally face up like this, they're facing towards me. I'm facing them towards me so I don't get into those, because you can tell when you get into those. So you're going to find that loop, that third loop that's right here. And like I said earlier, if you're using a worsted weight yarn, this is going to be a very difficult project to do. So please, please, please get either bulky or super bulky. Dimensions will be a little bit different if you use super bulky, but I just wanted to set you guys up for success with this one. So when you're first starting, I would encourage you to just kind of slow down, really make sure that you find those third loops. You can see this one right here. And when you have it when you have your shells facing you, it makes it so much easier to not fall into the habit of going into the back loop only. So I'm going to show you what it looks like when you go into the back loop only. So the good thing about this stitch is that you can tell pretty quickly when you've gone into the wrong loop. So when you look at this, you can see how it's a raised ridge like this, right? And then right here, where I just put the back loop only, you can tell it's a little different. It's not raised up, right? So just make sure that you turn your work towards you so you can see each of those back loops, and take your time. Crochet is not a race. Just take your time when you're doing this. And then I'll meet you at the end of this row before your last stitch. Okay, so you're at the last stitch of row 2. So if you put the stitch marker in there, it's going to help you quite a bit. Sorry, I apologize. Okay, there we go. So sometimes this one is just a little bit tougher to spot, only because there's like a chain 2 here. So I'd encourage you to use a stitch marker just so you can make sure that you get that last one. And just like for row 2, you chain up 2, you turn your work, and you have your first ridge that is made. And you're just going to repeat this for the entire hat until you reach 19 inches for an adult hat, adult large. Adult medium would be about 17 inches. Adult small would be about 15. So you're just going to continue to do this all the way until you get that desired length that you want. And like I said, it is a very stretchy yarn, so trying to make sure that your tension is about the same the entire time. And as you continue to build, you know, there is a little bit of a curl, like right at the beginning when you first start, but it'll go away. But I would just encourage you to stay, you know, as evenly tensioned as you can, because there is so much stretch in this yarn. So then once you get to the desired length that you want, depending on who you're making this for, I will meet you back and show you how we cinch it shut, and then how we bring it together and sew the seams together. All right. Okay, so once you get to the desired length that you want, mine is at about 15 inches, you're going to fold your ends together, okay? Then you're going to grab your hook, the hook that you've been working with the whole time, and you're going to kind of like bring out the back part of the foundation chain that you worked on earlier. You're going to insert your hook into the opposite side where the last stitches that you made. And you're going to connect these two. So you're going to take that loop and you're going to bring it through like that, okay? And then working into every stitch along this. So you can see the stitches better on this side. This side is a little bit harder. You're going to be working in those back loops. So into every stitch all the way across, you're just going to do a single crochet. So I'll do that again. So find that back loop of the foundation chain and then insert into the shell, yarn over or under, depending on how you do it, and then single crochet. And you're just going to keep doing that all the way until you get to the very top. Insert all the way across, single crochets. So right here we're obviously creating the seam for where it comes together. You can join it however you like if there's other ways that you've learned how to join it. All right, once you get to the top, you're going to chain one, and then into each of these, if you're right-handed, you're going to be working this way, back this way, but left-handed, you're going to be working this way. And so you can see all of these bumps, these raised bumps, right? So into each of the spaces around it, you're going to be putting single crochets. So not into the bumps themselves, but into the spaces in between them. So what we're doing is we're actually creating an easier way to kind of cinch it at the top, so it gathers together a lot better and it doesn't look all scrunched. So you're going to skip this raised part right here and you'll just go into the other side. And then right here. And just do your best to try to stay as even as possible all the way around. And what I mean by that is not going down lower when you're doing your single crochets. So single crochet all the way around the top into each of those spaces and not into the raised bump. So into each of those spaces, you'll be putting 2 single crochets. And right there, you could see I was grabbing onto that one loop, which makes it a little harder. So I'm just going to go over to this bigger one. And I'll meet you back when you've come all the way around on the other side. Okay, so once you come back to the other side and you do your last single crochet, at this point I'm going to pull my yarn all the way through. And what you're going to want to do if you are making it bigger, you just pull so you know that you have enough to go all the way around the top of this beanie. Okay. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in just 1 second. Okay, so then I'm going to grab my tapestry needle at this point. And you want to, what you're going to want to do is go all the way around, weaving in and out so we can cinch it down. I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so we ended here, and then you're going to find your next loop, and I'm going to go in the back way here. So go in the back, and then I go in the front like this. And because I have quite a bit of yarn right now, I'm just going to only weave in 2 times just so I don't get tangled. Like, you can get tangled really easy if you do it too many times. So weave in through the back and then in through the front. Pull that through. So you're going to do this all the way around. And if you have a shorter tail than me, you can weave in and out multiple times. Just make sure that you're not pulling tight on your yarn yet. You don't want to pull tight on the yarn yet. We'll do that at the very end. Okay. So this way, and then this way, all the way around. Make sure you go all the way around, and then I'll meet you once we get back to the start of where you started weaving in again, and I'll show you how to cinch down your beanie, and also if you need to do any additional sewing, what you can do. All right, I'll meet you at the end of this. Okay, so once you get to the end there, what you're gonna do is just take the long end that you just pulled through, and you're just going to cinch your work shut. So you're just gonna pull tight for it to cinch shut. Okay, so if you have that gap there, then you can just weave in and out on each side just to really make sure that it's closed. And this is also a good way to kind of weave your ends in from that. Make sure again that you don't go too low into the hat itself. Otherwise it will just sit kind of funny on your head. So I'm not going to go in a couple or a lot of times, only 3, just because it's pretty well closed up. And if you want, you can always do more single crochets around and do decreases if you want to do it that way as well. That's fine. But this is just how I close mine up. It's pretty simple and quick. Then once you're done weaving that end in, which I'm going to just pull my tapestry needle out and show you what it looks like, because you have more ends to weave in, and then you're just going to flip it inside out, and then this is the sides. Again, this is an adult small, could be like a youth large as well. You can see that the seam is on the back right here, but it's not very noticeable. It's right here. It's not super noticeable. You can flip it up if you want to, but it's all closed up here. All right, there you go. There's the alpine stitch beanie. Please leave your comments, like this video, subscribe, let me know what you'd like to see next.